So you have the Spanish, conquistadors coming around, chopping people up and shit in, New Mexico, Colorado. The beginning of the written record is going to be Don Diego de Vargas for Castilla County in Colorado, because 1694, that's when Vargas came up here, saw some buffalo, right, saw some deer, killed some Utes, killed 8 Utes, and then smoked a peace pipe with them and was like, sorry, bro, we didn't know if you want to come trade with us in Santa Fe like the good old days. So that was Don Diego de Vargas, 1694. And I believe that's the first major European encounter, invasion, discovery, however you want to put it. So the first governor is going to be Cristobal de Onate, the son of Juan de Onate. Onate Coronado, they never got to Castilla County, therefore they never got to Colorado. But the first governor of Spanish New Mexico is Cristobal de Onate. The second governor is Pedro de Peralta, 1614 to 1618. And this is going to, the way that you become governor of Spanish New Mexico is whenever the viceroy of New Spain appoints you. And the viceroy in 1614 was Diego Fernandez de Cordoba. Diego Fernandez de Cordoba said, Pedro de Peralta, you're the governor of New Mexico. So Pedro de Peralta also founded the city of Santa Fe. So this 200 years before Zebulon Pike. The Spanish had a 200-year head start. First Englishman came to Castilla County, 1807, Zebulon Pike, 1807, then the governor. They got governors in New Mexico and shit, right? 1614, 1618. So this is a very early event. 1637, that was when the fork was invented or introduced. The royal family used the fork. The Mystic River Massacre happened in Connecticut. This is 140 years before America existed. This is in northern New Mexico. So, Luis de Rosas, the 9th governor of Spanish New Mexico from 1637 to 1641. The very first recorded battle took place between the Spanish and the Utes. This is near Ute Mountain in the San Luis Valley. Apparently, they were searching for silver and gold, maybe to hunt bison. That's what they always say. But, always looking to plunder, looking for silver, looking for gold. They're still looking for silver and gold around here. But 1637, Luis de Rosas, 9th governor of Spanish New Mexico, 1637, 1641, he's going to arrest 80 Utes for DWB, and he's going to take them to Santa Fe. And the Utes are killed and captured. And later on, so he's going to have a war, there's a battle, right? A lot of Utes are killed, and then they're going to arrest a whole shit ton, 80 Utes. That's more than Abraham Lincoln had, killed with the Sioux. So 80 Utes are arrested near the Ute Mountain, and they take them down to Santa Fe. Okay, so that's it. That's what we know. Governor Luis de Rosas conducted war against the Utes near the southern Colorado border. 80 Utica natives were captured, forced to work in a textile concentration camp in Santa Fe. Now, 1640, so this is happening 1637 or 1639. I think it's 1639. 1641, the Uticas, the Utes, are going to escape, and they're going to take some horses during their escape from Santa Fe. And so the horse is going to be added to their way of life. This is the first documentation, if not the very first actual taking of the horses. Now the Utes have horses. Now the Utes can, domesticate them and repopulate them and get a whole bunch of horses. So this changes the whole game. Now Utes can, raid anybody that they want. They got the horse, right? So this this is a major event. So what? So what happened? So, there was Utes, there's also Apaches and Puebloans, right? So the peaceful, nice, decent Puebloans, Apaches, Utes, he's not just looking for silver and gold. He's looking for a bunch of natives to enslave, right? They're going to force them to manufacture leather garments to weave baskets. So, hey, Utes, Apaches, Puebloans, you better weave them baskets and tan that leather garments. So they enslaved them, right? Captured them, kidnapped them, not arrested, not jailed, kidnapped, and then enslaved and forced to work in concentration camps. So Rosas, right? This is Luis de Rosas, 9th ninth governor of Spanish New Mexico. Now, he's a little bit more dynamic. He allowed Pecos Pueblo to retain their ancient dances if they brought him more hides and blankets. So he was all about, getting these manufactured products, making money, right? Making this stuff, selling the stuff, making some money. So give me the hides, give me the blankets, right? Still with the furs, right? The beaver wars and all that. So Rosa allowed Pecos Pueblo to retain their ancient dances. Okay, Pecos Pueblo, well, you can do your stupid ancient dances if you give me some more blankets. Now the Franciscans and Rosas, Luis de Rosas, they hate each other. So the Franciscans basically had a monopoly on the religious. They were God, right? So they had a monopoly on. Now the Franciscans, when Luis de Rosas is appointed, well, they know that he's not, a great Franciscan. So the Franciscan thought that by them retaining their ancient dances, it hindered their Christianization efforts. It allowed them to keep their ancient religion, customs, and rituals. And the Franciscans hated Rosas. Rosas traded knives to Pecos Puebloans, traded them for buffalo hides and meat, right? He wants hides, meat, buffaloes, blankets. Rosas is going to arrest a friar because he said he hindered his profits, right? So the Franciscans are saying, you're stopping our Christianization efforts. He's saying, you're stopping my, capitalization efforts. So you just have, just this course with the Franciscans and Rosas just seems like, two locomotive trains just about to bear down on one another. Rosas is going to expel the clergy. So Luis de Rosas, I don't like how he's, making all these natives, but I like that he expelled the clergy in Santa Fe early 1640. You know what? Get the hell out of my city. There was some, story about how Luis de Rosas was sitting in church, and the priest, apparently in a sermon that was made for Luis de Rosas, listened to God's law, and then Luis de Rosas was like, God's law, schmod's law, fuck you, you goddamn bastards. So he probably retained his Christianity somehow, but he seemed to be progressive, allowing, the ancients, and actually what's going to happen is the ancient dances and Christianity is going to, become one in the long run. So Rosas allowed that to be, it was probably better actually. Why can't they keep their ancient dances? What was the Franciscans, what's, the bugaboo, what's up their assholes about the goddamn dances? They don't like the war dances, the ghost dance, the peace dance, the, rain dance. Oh no, they're doing a rain dance. Oh no, we gotta, So, yeah, the Luis de Rosas, get the hell out of here in Santa Fe. Get the hell out of here, Christians, Franciscan bastards, you Catholics. Early 1642, friars was like, this has gone too far. We got to at least throw, give him an olive branch. So the Franciscans sent 2 friars to try to persuade Luis de Rosas. Otherwise, maybe you shouldn't banish the Franciscans. And Luis de Rosas beat the shit out of both of them with a stick, just like Charles Sumner got his ass kicked by a white supremacist in the middle of Congress. And then after that, right, so the Franciscans are expelled from Santa Fe. This is going too far. Now he kicked 2 friars' asses? No fucking way. So the Franciscans, they got some of their congregation, Puebloans. The Puebloans, they invaded Luis de Rosas' ranch. And they're going to arrest him. And then they're going to kill him. And while he's in jail, when they were doing an investigation of his governorship, a new governor comes in. They're investigating him for his, corruption or what have you. While Luis de Rosas was sitting in jail, he's going to get killed by a soldier. And that's all she wrote. So I guess, in some poetic justice? I don't know if it's poetic or not. But Luis de Rosas was enslaving the Utes and the Apaches and the Puebloans. He was enslaving Utes, Apaches, forcing them to weave baskets and manufacture leather garments. So he's killing Utes and Apaches and Puebloans, right? If he can enslave them, he's killing them, right? So this is a military, this is a battle. So he's going around killing natives, capturing the rest of them, take the prisoners, and using the prisoners as slaves. And so, that's awful. That's fucking terrible. But eventually the Franciscans are going to, get whatever. The Nicholas Ortiz of Zacatecas is going to be the person that said to have killed Luis de Rosas. They stabbed him. Nicholas Ortiz of Zacatecas stabbed Luis de Rosas dead. And it said because he was sleeping with his wife. Several months later, 8 soldiers are going to be hung for Rosa's death for why he was in prison. So why? Maybe it was assassination, maybe government-inspired, government-involved, who knows, just general hatred for Rosas did him in, just some random ass, we're supposed to believe some random person in jail, just, you had some other governor in. No, you have to get rid of it, right? That's, if he's the governor, you got who's the actual governor? They made it simple, right? Just cleaned it all up right there. The Spanish, there's some fucking vicious bastards, right? So it's incredible, to be honest with you. They all are going to enslave the natives. They're all going to exploit and kill, steal from the Native Americans, and yet sometimes there's trials against their cruelty and war crimes against the natives. So it's, they try to check themselves, so it seems like they have some kind of system that sort of works, but... So yeah, what the fuck? Nicholas Ortiz of Zacatecas is going to, stab Luis de Rosas. He was, enslaving all those natives, the Utes and the Apaches and some Puebloans, right? So why did any of this happen? We don't know. We don't know. We don't know. Viceroy of New Spain, Diego Fernandez de Cordoba, is the one that appointed Pedro de Peralta in 1614 to 1618. 200 years, right? So they had a 200-year head start. 1637, this event is important because if Luis de Rosas actually reached Castilla County, Colorado, then he did it before Don Diego de Vargas. Therefore, the written record of Castilla County, Colorado is going to begin 50 years prior to when I thought it was with Don Diego de Vargas in 1694. So far, unless somehow I can extrapolate, ferret, if I could ferret out some piece of information that allows me to know that Luis de Rosas actually got into Colorado, maybe describe the Ute Mountain, maybe describe the Blanca Mountain, describe something around, in the San Luis Valley. If there's, you got to take a deeper dive into the primary source material. But so far, all I can tell is that he brushed by. He brushed by, right? He walked by. Perhaps it was here. Perhaps, Utes were farther south. 1637 was very early, just to let you know what the English pioneers were doing on the East Coast. In 1637, there was the Mystic River Massacre. So the English were murdering 700, Pequot women and children and elderly at the Mystic River in Connecticut. So in Connecticut, the English are killing, shit tons of Native Americans. English are just as bad as the Spanish. In fact, there's a tradition in the United States called Thanksgiving, and it's connected with the Mystic River Massacre because thanks be to God we got, rid of those awful savages. So, yeah, the English, they don't have any, they're all very terrible, oppressor, colonizer, enslaving, dirty, rotten sons of bitches. So that's what's happening on the east side, right? Just basically same shit, but just speaking a different language. But white oppressors, European colonizers, imperialist invaders. 1637 is when the fork is introduced. So now they can, jab their meat with a fork and shove it into their mouth instead of just eating with sticks or their hands. 1637 is 140 years before the United States existed, before July 4th, 1776. 1637. A long-ass time ago, right? This is a bunch of Utes, right? Or they're in the San Luis Valley. We got Ute Mountain. Is that where it was? And then the Utes get the horse because of Rosas. So Rosas is going to, do this shitty thing where he arrests and enslaves a lot of people. He's also going to, get killed in prison. So, I don't know, a martyr for the cause of Spain, right? This is Spain is eating themselves up. So Rosas, captured 80 Uticas. And, but we don't know for sure if he was actually in Castilla County or Colorado. And so why is that important? Why does any of this matter? Who gives a goddamn fuck about any? Well, it's all fascinating, to be honest with you. The Utes and the Apaches and the Puebloans are the ones that's going to get, kidnapped. But Nicholas Ortiz of Zacatecas is going to, stab Luis de Rosa's dead. And just, 1 year, 2 years after he had kidnapped all those Utes. And the Utes escaped, right? And then the Utes escaped with a horse, right? So I don't know if the Utes had, I've seen another written record that the Utes had a horse before 39, but this is the first either documented or first instance of the Utes actually getting the horse. And the horse is going to change, they can, instead of just walking, 2 miles an hour, now they got a horse. They can, gallop 5 to 10 miles an hour, use the horse to carry stuff. The horse can carry, pull a wagon, and you can, travel greater speeds. They're doing all the work. They're doing all the labor. They were, people, the war parties would use them to raid villages, but if you had the horse, you could use it to defend your village, and chase the raiders out or what have you. So, yeah, that's my choppy report about Luis de Rosas, the 9th governor of Spanish New Mexico, and how he was close to Castilla County, Colorado, arrested 80 Utes for DWB, took them to Santa Fe, forced them in a concentration camp to manufacture leather and weave baskets. You better weave baskets. Utes and Apache and Pueblo, you better weave them baskets. And they escaped, took the horse, and then Luis de Rosas is going to end in a terrible fate for himself. But good for the Utes and the Apaches and the Puebloans that you had, what's-his-face, Nicholas Ortiz of Zacatecas, that stabbed him dead. So, he, it wasn't a gunshot, it was just, a knife wound. That's not funny. It's sad, actually. It's like being burned alive or drowned or some shit. Just being stabbed over and over, stab, stab, stab. No. Yeah, so it's 2020 now, right? So July 16th, 2020, Thursday, 8 a.m. in the morning. Peace.